Welcome to The Explainers, where we break down big ideas. Today, we're digging into a huge one, maybe one of the most important concepts of all, liberty.
So what does it actually mean to be free? I mean, really think about it. Does it just mean being left alone to do your own thing? Or does it mean having the actual power, the resources, to go out and achieve your goals? It seems simple, but this is one of the thorniest questions in all of political thought.
And back in 1958, a philosopher named Isaiah Berlin gave this lecture that just blew the doors off the whole conversation. It completely changed how we talk about freedom.
Okay, so Berlin's big idea was this. He said we're all confusing two totally different types of liberty. Let's start with the first one, which he called negative liberty. And honestly, this is probably what you think of when you hear the word freedom.
At its heart, negative liberty is all about freedom from things, freedom from interference. Think of it as just being left alone. Nobody's actively putting up a wall to stop you from doing what you want to do. Simple as that.
Berlin basically framed it as a question of your personal space. How big is the bubble around you where nobody else gets to interfere? The bigger that bubble, the more negative freedom you've got.
And this idea was a huge deal for the thinkers who kind of kicked off modern liberalism, guys like John Stuart Mill and John Locke. For them, the whole game was about making that bubble of non-interference as big as humanly possible. They thought it was the secret sauce for a good society.
All right, so that's one side of the coin. Now let's flip it over to the second concept, what Berlin called positive liberty. And this is where things start to get a lot more complicated, and, as we're going to see, a little more dangerous. See, this isn't just about people not stopping you. This is about you actually having the power and the ability to do things. It's the freedom to be your own boss, to chase your dreams, to really be in the driver's seat of your own life and be your own master.
And that's the key question here. Who's in control? Are you steering your own ship, making rational choices, or is something else in charge? Maybe your own worst impulses, or your financial situation, or even some outside authority telling you what's best for you.
Okay, here's a great way to think about it. Negative liberty, that's an open highway with no traffic, no roadblocks, no cops. You can go wherever you want. But positive liberty comes along and says, hey, that's great, but do you actually have a car? Do you have gas in the tank? Do you even know how to drive? It's about having the means to travel, not just the open road.
Now, I want to be really clear. Berlin wasn't saying one of these is good and the other is bad. He thought both were incredibly important human ideals. Any decent society needs a healthy mix of both. But he had a really serious warning for us, especially about positive liberty.
He saw this incredibly dangerous, slippery slope. He looked back at history and saw again and again how this beautiful, noble idea, helping people become their true selves, could get twisted into a justification for absolute tyranny.
And here's how he saw it happen. It starts with the great goal, self-mastery. But then maybe some elite group decides they know what's rational for everybody else. And pretty soon what you actually want doesn't matter anymore because there's some higher goal for the group. And then you get to the final terrifying step. They start forcing you to do things you don't want to do, and they call it making you free. It's this insane paradox where the call for freedom becomes a license to control everybody.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Freedom for the pike is death for the minnows. It's a brutal reminder that one person's absolute freedom can be another person's cage. Liberty isn't some simple, happy ideal. It is always, always about trade-offs. But hold on, Berlin's warning was not the last word on this. Not by a long shot. His essay basically kicked off a firestorm of debate that is still shaping our world today. For instance, the philosopher Charles Taylor shot back, saying, wait a minute, you can't just ignore a person's inner demons or their social situation. Real freedom means having the ability to overcome those things too. And G.A. Cohen made this brilliant and kind of sharp point about poverty. He argued that being poor isn't just a lack of positive liberty. No, he said it's a direct attack on your negative liberty, because the very system of property that keeps you poor is enforced by the state with the threat of coercion.
So, what's the bottom line here? The big takeaway is that this tension, this constant tug-of-war between freedom from and freedom to, isn't some problem we're ever going to solve. It's a permanent feature of politics. It's a balancing act that we're always trying to get right.
And that brings it all right back to us, to our world. Think about almost any major debate we have today. Economic regulations, public health, social safety nets. At their very heart, they are all negotiations between negative and positive liberty. When does one person's freedom to trample on another's freedom from? Berlin's framework doesn't hand us any easy answers, but it gives us a much sharper and much more honest way to ask the question,